What is going on, everyone? Back at you with another video here. As first video with me and Nick, we're excited to announce that this is the start of our full-time gig here. Going to be producing videos Monday through Friday, covering all of the main topics: NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB. And we're just kind of excited to try this out. I know Nick is as well, and should just be an exciting time.
Yeah, I'm hyped. I'm looking forward to, it's already been a pretty exciting, postseason for NBA and NHL as a Bruins fan and as a Celtics fan. So it's been fun to watch. I'm excited definitely for the NFL, and MLB's off to a pretty fun start. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm hyped.
Yeah, the beauty of the NFL is it's year-round, never really stops. And that's, speaking of the NFL, that's actually what we're kind of going to be getting into in today's video. The two main topics we're going to be covering is recapping two AFC teams' off seasons, the Buffalo Bills and New England Patriots, both of our hometown team. One of us is a fan, one isn't. Which one do you want to start off with first?
We can start with the Bills just because they're kind of more the prominent team right now.
Yeah,
like people are kind of looking at them more.
Yeah,
you can go first with I want to hear your grades actually.
Yeah, so when looking at the Buffalo Bills, I mean, we've seen what they've done recently, kind of division round and out every year. They've kind of been a Super Bowl contender, but the Chiefs have always gotten in their way. The last couple times, I think the Bengals did as well 2 years ago. So this offseason, they kind of got rid of some veterans. Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, and obviously the big trade with Stephon Diggs to Houston. A couple of the players they gained was Keon Coleman, the first-round receiver from that they traded up for from Florida State. He kind of looks like, I don't know if you've seen the videos, kind of looks like a goofball the way he talks. But, he could be something, probably going to be Josh Allen's number one target, even though he's just a rookie. We have Curtis Samuel, kind of just a fast utility guy. And they signed a couple of their defensive backs to extensions like Taylor Rapp. When kind of like looking at this, they definitely got younger. And when you think about like Tre'Davious White, like he was always getting injured. Like, how many times was he actually around for the postseason run? And then Stephon Diggs, he's still good. Like, don't get me wrong, but their most success was with him when they started utilizing James Cook more in the run game in the second half of the year, and he kind of disappeared from the offense, but was still, I think what people overlook is he still needs like that double team, or he still draws a lot of attention. So that's why players like Khalil Shakir were having breakout games. It's because you're still like, I think you still need to utilize him more in the double teams. So I think that's going to be their biggest loss, more so than the defensive backs that were kind of aging out already and looked like Jordan Poyer wasn't himself anyways. But with that being said, I'd have to go like C. They didn't get better, I don't think, but they got younger. But this is kind of Josh Allen's window. And when he's making this much money, you got to lose some people and you got to develop through the draft. So they're really going to come down to if their draft prospects hit, if they want another AFC East title, in my opinion.
Yeah. I kind of gave them a similar grade. I said B-, B at best, just because, like you said, they did get younger. They addressed like some of the needs. They took Keon Coleman because they had to fill that Stephon Diggs spot. But they gave up Diggs and I think 2 picks just for a second, which is kind of like, I don't know. I think they did not get the return they should have gotten for him, but they were kind of just looking to move on from him, which I get. But like you said, it's big for them to win right now with Josh Allen.
What kind of did them in?
What was that?
What kind of did them in was what kind of did them in, I think, was the Stephon Diggs return was just his performance in the second half of the year. Really dissipated, and he's already 30 years old, believe it or not. So I think kind of losing out on that second half kind of what gave them the second round pick that the Texans used to end up.
And honestly, one of my favorite like acquisitions sort of that they had over the offseason was actually Joe Brady, their new OC. I think he's coming over from LSU, or I know he was with LSU, and he was great there for their offense. So I think he's going to be able to kind of stretch the field them. And hopefully, like, guys like Keon.
Yeah, I believe he was like the interim, like the second half of the year. And that's kind of when you saw the offense start to click much better. They became a run-heavy team with James Cook, and Josh Allen obviously can use his legs. So in looking kind of like at like a record prediction so far, I know we're still kind of early, but like I see like 9 wins for this team because Josh Allen definitely gives you that high floor no matter what. But I still think it will take time to develop these rookie quarterbacks, and obviously with the first place or rookie wide receivers, and obviously with this first place schedule that they have to face again, I just don't see how they win like these 13 games that they have been the last like 4 seasons.
Yeah, for my prediction, for record-wise, I would still give them 10 or 11 wins. I still see them coming out of the East just because it seems like back half of the year they always pick it up. It's always tough to play in Buffalo no matter what team.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Dolphins.
They're only
can't play in warm cold weather.
The only real competition I could see them having is the Jets if they stay healthy. It's a big if, though. Like, obviously, we saw Rodgers go down right away, and maybe the Dolphins. But as it gets colder, like they can't play in cold weather. We saw it.
Yeah, I need to see it from the Jets first before I believe it. But I do agree. Some of the free agent signings, just overall draft, I thought they did a solid job trading back and gaining some pieces. So we'll see how it goes, though, for the Jets. But we'll talk about the Jets probably in tomorrow's video and finish up the rest of the AFC East teams. But now let's move on to, I think will be more of a controversial one, is the New England Patriots, mainly in the draft. So obviously, I don't really think they lost anyone crucial. Like I know Ezekiel Elliott went back to the Cowboys, but he kind of was poop anyways. I know they got Jacoby Brissett in free agency. KJ Osborne, former Viking. Very inconsistent is what I'll leave that at. Austin Hooper, tight end, to be the second to Hunter Henry. And then obviously some main draft picks, Drake May, and then that Polk receiver. I forget what school he's out of, but
Washington.
I've seen a couple highlights of him. So I'll let you start this one first.
Okay. So this might be because I'm, a biased Pats fan who's been watching them forever, but I tried putting myself in the perspective of just an NFL fan, and I'm giving them like an A- to an A overall offseason because they retained so many key young players. They re-signed Kyle Duggar, Mike Owenu. They just re-signed Christian Barmore, who's extremely underrated. Re-signed Hunter Henry. And I think bringing in Jacoby Brissett is a bigger deal than people think because it allows a veteran to mentor. They already knew they were taking the quarterback. They kind of knew that from the start when they got that third pick. And so now they have somebody who they can put in front of Drake May to have him learn a little bit.
Yeah, I was always curious because I wasn't as certain that they were going to take a QB. I really thought they were going to kind of trade out. So you're kind of rocking that, like, what'd you say, A- area?
Yeah, A-, because, I also really like their draft. In the draft, they addressed almost every need. They took 2, I think, very good receivers. People are saying Javon Baker might be the steal of the draft in the 4th round.
Where was he out of? Do you know?
Javon Baker?
Yeah.
He went to UCF, but I'm pretty sure before UCF he went to Bama. So, he's obviously got talent.
Yeah. The way I'd look at it is I feel like it could be 2 separate grades in my opinion.
Okay.
One of the biggest questions I have is if the Patriots knew in advance for a while if they were going to take a QB, who is their offensive coordinator after Bill O'Brien left?
It's Alex Van Pelt. He's the OC that was with the Browns. So, and the Browns kind of had, with Flacco at least, they were kind of slinging it over.
Just like I had a couple questions about the hiring defensive-minded first head coach, and then I know Drake May's obviously got talent, but I don't know if you saw, there was kind of reports that he was kind of like slipping in the draft, and he was like a consensus number 2 QB for the longest time before Jaden Daniels emerged. But he obviously has the talent. The couple things he needs to work on is like his footwork, kind of, it can be all over the place, and I've seen on film, like he can make 10 really good throws in a row and then just throw like a pass. You're like, what the hell's that? But obviously, rookie QBs are going to have those kind of flaws. It'll just be it'll come down to New England being able to develop him. But the one I could see two different grades kind of turn out for this, and the reason why I mentioned the Bryce Young comparison was if they throw him in the fire too early. I don't want New England to get off to a rough start, maybe like 1-3, 0-4, and then say, "Oh, Drake May, like you got to come in and save us, give us some hope right away." I would rather him sit a year because I think he needs that year to develop. And they do have a good option, Brissett, to lead the way. But if they, and like I said, maybe these rookie receivers can be something. But I kind of want to see them first with Brissett to see how they are. And obviously, I mean, KJ's a number 3, number 4 guy. He's like, not going to do anything. He has a drop problem, but he's a nice guy at least. But I would say if these two rookie receivers, Polk and Baker, can develop under Brissett, then I think you're leaving Drake May with some good weapons. I think their offensive line is okay. I don't think it's anything special.
Yeah, I think it's better than people think.
Okay.
Like they also signed Okorafor. I don't know if sorry if I'm saying that wrong. He's from the Steelers, and people were saying when they signed him, it's a very good signing. He's gonna probably hold down the left tackle position, which we obviously lost Trent Brown, so that's a big fill.
So losing him is going to be tough, but maybe the replacement Okafor can work out. It's just if they take the time to develop him, don't rush him because, New England rookie head coach, you get a free pass for a year. And maybe you get a high pick next year to take another receiver, offensive lineman. So I hope if they develop this right, it could turn out to that A- grade you're hoping for. But if they rush him in too early, he kind of struggles early on because he doesn't have the weapons necessarily that are turning out to be that good. And it's just like a huge mess because he's just not ready. Mm-hmm. And then he, struggles, maybe lose some confidence heading into next year. So it could kind of be like a whole nother like Mac Jones case scenario, even though Mac Jones' first year was actually kind of good. So I would go kind of, it depends. It's very mixed depending on how they use Drake May, in my opinion.
Yeah. I definitely get what you're saying with I'm on board with you. I don't think he should start the season. I think the only way you put him in is say, maybe they're a game or two under 500 and going into like week 12. And by then, it's their defense carrying them. Like it's been, the past couple of years where the defense shows up, but the offense is just not producing. If it's the same way, then maybe you say, you know what, back half of the year, ride it out with you. Let's see what the kid's got. But I'm definitely on board with letting him sit a year because we saw it with not just Mac Jones, but like Zach Wilson too. You throw them into the fire, they got no time to develop, and their confidence goes down the drain.
Yeah, no, we saw that. And it's, I mean, going off of that point, Brissett, I think, is one of the best backups or bridge QBs you can get. So if he was struggling, I would still be slightly concerned. Like, in my opinion, do you know how long the deal was for? Was it just 1 year?
I think it's for Brissett. I think it's just 1 year.
Yeah, so it's kind of like if he does great, that's fine. He can go get paid like Gardner Minshew did with the Raiders. Yep. I'd rather see that, but if they're fighting and they think he's ready, I can see it, but it'll kind of all see how it looks. Yeah. That was kind of interesting. In my opinion, I still would have taken Marvin Harrison just because of the generational talent there. I think him and Kyler will be something to watch, but only time will tell with that draft pick.
Yeah, well. I can definitely get both sides of it. I mean, Marvin Harrison, I think with high, like top 5 wide receiver picks, I think I can't remember the last one that didn't hit. Like their wide receivers are much more of a sure thing just because you can develop them and kind of afford them to wait a little longer. Like quarterbacks, if they don't hit right away, a lot of people just kind of throw them out the window and call them a bust. But yeah, I don't think the quarterback talent next year is nearly as good as it is this year. I think like Quinn Ewers and Carson Beck are like the 2 top quarterbacks. Which
Shedeur Sanders maybe if he goes.
Yeah, but I still would rather. I mean, Drake May is only 21 or 20 years old, so he has plenty to develop.
He's got all the talent in the world, and next year's quarterback class is not that great, and nor is that draft because this is one of the most historic drafts I think in a while. We've just seen straight up talent. second round, third round. Who knows? Maybe even Spencer Rattler could have been first round next year if he had another year. So with that being said, kind of where do you think the Patriots lie record-wise heading into like next year right now? I know throughout the
Right
offseason.
now, I think their defense will show up. Gerard Mayo, obviously, he learned everything he knows from Belichick. He's been with the team since he's been into the NFL. So I can see their defense winning them a few games, but I still see them winning. I'd say their ceiling is 7 games just because I don't think May should start. I don't think he will start. Brissett, you said he's a good bridge quarterback, and I definitely believe that, but he's not somebody who's going to go out there and win you 8 or 9 games just with his arm. So I can see 6 or 7 wins and just develop the younger players.
Yeah, this is a development year for New England, but I think it could be an exciting one. Obviously, the Bill Belichick thing was kind of getting stale at some point. Like the message just wasn't hitting the same, and kind of in that different generation. And I think I'm excited to hear Bill. I know he's going to be like on ESPN and stuff.
Yeah, I am excited for that.
He's got a unique perspective, but his kind of coaching philosophy seemed kind of washed out after Cam Newton basically after Brady left. It was kind of just they had that 1 year with Mac Jones, but it was never really the same. But we'll see. I think there's some optimism. I'm going to go with around like 5 wins for right now. I mean, we'll kind of see how it goes. Obviously, that division's just stacked. If the Jets are healthy, but that's a big if. But that's tough. Obviously, Buffalo is going to be tough. The Dolphins. They're high flying offense. But I'll go around with 5 wins. But we'll see because we're going to be going to their training camp later in the offseason. Yeah. Maybe if they look the part, that'll be interesting. Kind of to wrap up this NFL segment, though, I have the trade here that the Vikings offered to the Patriots for that pick number 3, and I was curious to see if you would have taken it. So the proposed trade was the Vikings offered their 11th pick, the 23rd, and next year's first round pick, and the Patriots would have to give up their number 3 overall pick and like a late or mid-round pick, like a 5th rounder.
No, I'm glad they didn't take that because I mean, like we were just talking about with how historically offensive this draft was, and how many we saw. What was it? 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks.
Yeah, it was like something. Bo Nix went 6. I completely forgot he went top 12 to the Broncos.
Yeah, so I think they made the right move in staying pat and just taking the guy they wanted to take. Because I mean, unless it was some historic offer like we saw, the Panthers do last year for Bryce Young, or even I'm pretty sure the Rams when they traded up for Goff, they gave up like 4 or 5 firsts. Then maybe you take it, but I don't think that was enough to sway them clearly. And I wouldn't.
No. Yeah, I feel like, by the way, speaking of the Panthers offer, I feel like that isn't talked about enough of how Caleb Williams is probably going into the best situation, number 1 overall quarterback has ever gone into. Yep. But we'll get into that with our Bears preview down the line. But is there anything else you want to add to this NFL episode, or should we?
I think we hit on all this stuff. Yeah. I mean, record predictions are always tough.
They might change throughout the offseason if we see stuff that we interested. If Polk looks like the next Justin Jefferson, right? We may see something we don't know, or if an injury happens in training camp.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I mean, weren't people last year? I thought I saw a ton of predictions predicting the Texans to be the worst team in the league, and they wound up like breaking out because of all their young stars. So you never know.
They went from a team arguably with like one of the worst situations it looked like we're going to be one of the worst records. And I hate that. What was that thing? CJ Stroud didn't do good on like an IQ test or something.
Yeah. And everybody was calling him a bust. It was.
It was like, holy crap. And then that's the only, that test is the only reason why the Panthers took Bryce Young instead. So Houston was thankful for that test, I bet. Yeah. But we saw how fast Houston realized, shit, this is a championship window.
Right.
So when we get to that team, man, I got some hot takes for that team as
Yeah,
well.
I'm excited to get into those. Like them, the Bears, I'm excited to talk about. Like there's
It
a
just
bunch
felt
of
like one of the most active off seasons, and to be honest, it seems like the Bills and Patriots did more so in the draft than the actual
yeah,
offseason.
yeah.
But yeah, should be interesting. But with that being said, that'll wrap up our first round of NFL previews. Thank you all for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.